It's a Friday morning. That means we get to talk to Bob Pollock from the Extension Service. Our conversation is brought to you by Marcus and Mack, a law firm representing injured people. And there he is on the line on this gorgeous sunny day that's not supposed to be gorgeous and sunny at all. He's Bob Pollock from the Extension. Good morning.
Good morning.
All right.
But we're gonna take this little bit of sunshine while we can get it, right?
Absolutely. We'll take whatever we can get right now. Looking at it, I mean, these tulips finally are blooming across the street, and the other flowers are blooming for everybody, so it snows on them. It's just rude.
Yeah, well, we've had that happen before.
Oh, yeah.
So we have.
Yeah. There have been plenty of April snow showers in our area. So
we've flopped the months, haven't we? March was pretty darn decent, and now we've gone the other way.
Now there's this. Yeah. Okay. So I'm sure it has some ramifications, but not great ramifications for our lawns and gardens, does it?
We're still early. Now things were ahead of schedule. You know, for some things they were pushing out in bud and leaf a little early, but most of those plants are normally coming out first anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So we haven't had any real severe. We've had some frosts and things, but most of those plants have weathered through that so far.
Mm-hmm. And that's fine. That's good. So let's get out to the garden, because I know that the garden shops are all now offering their plants for inside the gardens. There are cool weather plants. We'll talk to Lynette Yarnick later this morning. She'll tell us about the cool weather plants that she has out there. There are plants that you really do have to plant by season, don't you?
Definitely. Yeah, and there's a whole, when we're talking about vegetables, there's the whole group of cool season plants, or plants that like to be grow and mature in cooler weather. Mm-hmm. They still need sunlight, most of those plants. And then there's other plants that that will get damaged with either cold weather or freezing weather. So we call those the warm season plants. Mm-hmm. And those are the ones we always try to. Those tend to be longer season plants. Tomatoes, for example, although tomatoes can handle a little bit of cold more than the vine crops especially need to have warmer weather. And so we wait till after the danger of frost is over, or we have a way to protect them so that we can plant them early.
Generally, Memorial Day weekend is when we do ours. That's when everything goes in for us, including our cool season plants go in then too. But yeah, the cucumbers, the cantaloupes, those things, those vine plants, they need to wait a little bit.
Definitely. Unless you have a greenhouse, and then you can go. But you have to have a heat source, of course, to keep that going.
Yeah. What about seed plants, if we're planting beans or peas or things of that nature? Lettuce is another seed plant I'm thinking of.
Yes. And so lettuce tends to be a little hardier. So some of those beans, though, we need to wait on those. The soil. So for seeds, the soil temperature is more important. So if it's too cool, then those plants will just sit there in the soil and not germinate until the soil temperature is warm enough for them to do that. So you still need to wait. And then the other issue with planting seeds now is having some dry soil to plant it in. We've had a couple of little windows to maybe start to do that, but not very much yet.
Yeah. People do at this time have plants that they planted indoors and are waiting for that moment when they can get outdoors and they can put them in the ground, but it's really not the time for that yet either, is it?
No, it's not. And now you could, like onions. Usually onions are one of those crops that we are able to plant early. So you can plant the sets or you can plant plants. The sets you can put out a little bit early because, of course, they haven't started to grow yet. So you can get those in the ground. But even now, it's just a little bit. I'd wait a little bit on that, maybe a week. And I was just looking at the 10-day forecast, and things aren't going to change much.
No,
from where we are right now.
I know. We're going to be even more frustrated next week this time.
We might be. We're going to have to really work on that. Really work on that.
I'll call Dr. May, and I'll tell him I'm getting ready to go out in the garden, but I can't. I need your help. You might be the only one that can help me here. I'm talking to Dr. Bob. I might have to call Dr. Ralph in on this case.
Yeah, so that's where having some help, some floating row cover. So in the garden, or you can plant things in pots. You could even start them indoors if you have some supplemental lighting or a sunroom, and actually take potting soil and plant things there to get that little early edge. Mm-hmm. And then you could always then hopefully by the time those come up and start to grow indoors, the weather pattern will change here a little bit more favorably, that the soil dries out enough that we can work some soil in the garden and then transplant those plants out into the garden.
Yeah.
Would be another way to try and keep things moving along.
Let's walk out onto our lush green lawns right now. They've got their early spring growth going in the grass, and last week I mowed and I had 2 dandelions in the entire plot. Now I've got thousands.
Where did they come from?
Folks get overly concerned about those. Well, maybe not overly concerned, but they do get very concerned about dandelions and the battle against them. Pretty much most of us, I think, by this time have learned just throw up your hands, wait till they're done, and move along. And that's generally what you have to do, because if you can do the best that you can to keep them out of your lawn, but if the next fella or couple fellas down the block, they have them, they're coming your way.
They'll be coming your way. And one plant those little flowers produce a lot of seeds that have adapted to be able to blow in the wind, and then they'll go, and those little fuzzy white things will go and land, and boom, there you go. Mm-hmm. So that's something that we could be doing now, if you have extra time on your hands, is to go out there and just start to hand weed. Catch things while they're smaller and younger. They're a lot easier to pull or to dig out if you have just a little hand tool, especially for dandelions, for example, that have that tap root like a carrot.
Yeah.
Just having a pronged hand tool, you can dig down in there and get the majority or get enough of the whole plant out that it won't be a problem anymore.
Of course, if you have 7,000 of them in your yard.
Well, break it down into pieces, Todd.
Yeah.
Sections.
I hear you.
But you still don't have that kind of time to do that.
No, we don't. And that's fine.
But it can be therapy.
Talk about this, if you would. And in terms of weeds, because I saw the other day taking a walk around the outer limits of the house and seeing the mulch beds that you have around the house. They have picked up some things over the winter that blew in as well. And now they've taken root. But mulching is a very important thing around your house if you want to do weed control, isn't it?
Right. That can be very helpful to help minimize weeds. It doesn't eliminate weeds because, just as you've mentioned, things will blow in. That mulch is usually nice and loose. It's organic matter. It's decaying bark or pieces of wood. So it is a substrate that plants can grow in. And why aren't weeds practicing social distancing? They're ignoring this thing. It's a little easier to take care of them if they did.
Hey, Bob, let me do something here.
So you could take a rake and you can. That's another way to fluff up the mulch, and especially some of those young ones that are just germinating and don't have very much of a root system. Just by raking and smoothing out the mulch, you could do some weeding as well, freshen it up.
Bob, let me do this one thing. We have a caller on the line. I need to put you on hold for just a second and then bring you back so that we can comfort you together. Okay, so we're gonna do that. We're gonna take Bob down here and then put him on hold, and then we're gonna bring him back. He's there, and our caller is there. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. What's your question for Bob?
I have a question about fertilizer. I've got some old gunpowder, which I believe is a nitrate. Could you use that in a garden as fertilizer?
About that, Bob?
Wow, there's a question.
For if people didn't hear that, old gunpowder, which is a nitrate based, and can he use that as fertilizer? He's thinking.
I have never had that question before. This is the first. We need to write this down so that I can remember it when I get older than I am now.
You're still thinking, aren't you?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm you
trying to
think while I Google.
Yeah.
I anticipated this segment sounding a little bit better. Your thinking is not helping this segment sound any better at all.
No, it's not. It's not, is it?
Okay.
Well, it depends. And there are some different kinds of gunpowder. So if it's there's smokeless gunpowder. Mm-hmm. Nitrocellulose is about 13% nitrogen. Applied as a fertilizer, it should act as a controlled-release plant food because nitrocellulose is not water-soluble, has to be broken down by soil conditions and microorganisms to become available to the plants. Very interesting.
Well, it couldn't hurt, could it?
Could it hurt, he wants to know.
Oh, my goodness, here's another question. Can you use gunpowder to season meat?
Let's stick to the fertilizer, okay?
If we can do that, we can definitely put it on the ground to fertilize plants.
How much old gunpowder do you have? You must be stuffing shotgun shells, huh?
There's like 3 pounds. No, I was blessed. This is a hand-me-down, and gunpowder's no good right now. All right. There's like 3 pounds of it, which is a pretty decent amount for a garden,
Yeah, 3 pounds of the stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, so 13. So if it would be 13%, usually that's always done by weight. So the amount of nutrients in a fertilizing material are always done by weight. So 13%. So that's not that too much. And since it's not all available at one time, it'll be slowly released, almost like putting on an organic material. So it'd be hard to overdo it. And then what you could do is try a little bit of that in the flower bed, for example, or even on the yard, rather than putting it on food crops that you're going to grow, even though you could put it on a plant that won't come in contact with physical contact with that material.
Okay.
Sprinkle that around. As far as I can see here,
try it on your flowers, see how it does.
Right.
And there's nothing toxic in it. I would think that would have to do some more research on it. There are plenty of people on different forums online that say that we use that.
Okay, I think I'll give it a shot.
Give it a shot, you say? He said he would give it a shot.
Pun intended.
Oh, boy. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That was beautiful. That was beautiful. I wonder if he did that on purpose. I know he did.
Yeah, he might have already known the answer to that. But that's good. That honestly is the first time I've ever had that question.
Yeah? You're going to do some research
normally,
this week,
normally you would not do that because the price of gunpowder would be way more than per pound than a typical fertilizer would be. So, but since he has that as it's not usable for the use it was intended, we can back it up with this.
There you go. On today's edition of Stump the Doctor, we stumped Dr. Bob a little bit with gunpowder fertilizer. Bob, thanks so much for being with us this morning.
Hey, you are welcome. Thanks for the opportunity.
It's the voice of Indiana County, WCCS, AM 1160 and 101.1 FM. 1 FM. 1